Welcome to Silver Pros, sponsored by SD Bullion. I'm your host, Silver Dragons. I'm joined by my awesome co-host, Yankee Stacking. What's up, Yankee?
Oh, thanks so much. I am super stoked to be here.
Yes, it's such a great topic. Today we're
Yes.
talking about silver and all the craziness that's been going on over the last few months. Yankee, how crazy is this? The demand is insane, right?
That is the key point, SD. Demand. It is way up. And we're going to dive into this a little more deeply. But from my talks with my local coin shop dealer, Tim, watching the line, interviewing people, getting emails from people, and of course, our online bullion dealer sponsor, SD Bullion, we've had some interesting discussions with them as well. The
Yes.
demand is through the roof.
Okay, first off, I have to know at the local coin shop,
Yeah.
it must have just been buzzing, right? Were people having a hard time getting in buying silver? What was the deal?
Oh my word. 10 people lined up outside the door. It's not exactly warm here yet. It's
Yeah.
getting there, but oh my word. And they walked away. There were so many people that were first time buyers. There were friends bringing friends and family members that have mocked stacking to their face. Joe here, he's been laughing at me. Now he's lined up. He wants more. He wants silver himself.
Oh my goodness.
It was like, I felt like, I didn't stick a microphone in anybody's face, but I was like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah. People are starting to wake up, and even some of the mainstream media is now talking about gold specifically, but silver as well. So I think people are, pretty much the whole banking crisis is what kicked all of this off, right? I mean, that's why people are flocking to the precious metals.
It seems like it was the impetus, right? And you mentioned the mainstream media. There was talk on major network news and big news anchors, people I won't mention the names, but they were basically saying you need to go out and buy now. You need to buy your precious metals now. Buy some food while you're at it. I mean, it was like, whoa. And a lot of that stemmed from that SVB crisis and what the response was from the Treasury, the government, the Fed. And I think people really got shook. That, and also I think they're afraid of it, domino effect, the cascading effect,
Right.
spilling out into the general economy, recession really taking hold. And we're also seeing a pile of layoffs. I think that is also concerning people. I think that is going to be just part of the reason why people are picking silver up.
Absolutely. I mean, typically silver and gold both are looked at as the safe haven assets. This is the safe place to store your wealth. No matter what happens, you put it in gold, you put it in silver, you're going to be protected. And I agree with you. I think people are definitely waking up to that fact. And going back to the online bullion dealers and demand,
Mm-hmm.
you and I both today we talked to the CEO at SD Bullion, and the
Mm-hmm.
demand that they're seeing is bigger than 2008
Yep.
financial. I mean, crisis. Then it's bigger than COVID. It's
Yep.
bigger than when Russia invaded Ukraine. The
Yep.
demand now is absolutely unprecedented for physical bullion. That's what people want. They want to get bullion. They want to hold it. They want to protect their wealth. And but not just that. I mean, institutional investors are looking
Mm-hmm.
at metals as well. We've seen spot price go up. Go up. What do you make of all this, Yankee?
Well, I do think that institutional investors are looking primarily to cash, to be honest with you. I think been a shift out of higher risk assets and into cash. I've talked to a lot of high net worth individuals that are saying it's all about the cash, got to protect it.
Sure.
But a lot of them are also getting into precious metals too. I think there's a lot more coming institutionally with precious metals in the future, but we're seeing that happen. And also, I got to mention this too. When we talked to the CEO at
Yes.
SD Bullion,
Yes.
it was not so much the supply,
Right. It's not a
but again, the
shortage.
demand. It's not a shortage, right? Not like COVID. He actually said totally the opposite of COVID.
Yeah, yeah. During COVID, it was like the mints shut down, a lot of the private
Mhm.
mints, and they weren't shipping silver out, and that was kind of why we saw a big spike back then. Now the supply chains, everything's fine. That's not the issue. They can get bullion. It's shipping it out when people order it because so many new people are getting into precious metals. I want to point something out for stackers, as far as a percentage of the population, it's about 1% or less. That's being generous, saying 1% of the
That is generous.
population
Yep.
stacks gold and silver. So with this influx of people, let's say call it 2%, it's
Hmm.
crushing the system. Can you imagine?
Ooh.
Can you imagine if more people start waking up to what's going on? I mean, you are not going to be able to buy physical
Yeah.
bullion. You're not going to be able to find it anywhere, right?
Yeah, it wouldn't have to go up to 50 or 80. Even if it was 10% or 20% of our country saying we need to stack physical, that would destroy the availability. It would be unattainium. It really would.
So let me ask you this. What are people afraid of? I mean, is it just the bank failures? Is that in a nutshell, or is there more to the story? What do you think?
I think they're afraid of several things. They're afraid of what the response by our government and the Federal Reserve will be. I've heard the word hyperinflation bandied around
Oh
again.
my goodness.
I think it's extreme. I don't think we're headed to hyperinflation anytime soon,
Right.
but we are going to see epic inflation, very high inflation. And in fact, haven't we already seen the response by the Federal Reserve? You did a video on this recently. You showed a
Yep.
very poignant graph that basically shows the Fed has started quantitative easing round 5.
That's exactly what they're doing. They added 400 billion to the balance sheet, and if we see more banks fall, it could get really out of hand really fast because when they loan out money to the banks, these are assets that they're adding to their balance sheet. It's essentially quantitative easing, and I mean, so we could see it just go
Yeah.
hyperbolic, right?
Let's talk banks really quickly here, right?
Yeah.
So you get SVB, bought a bunch of treasuries,
Yes.
mortgage-backed securities, got it in around 1% less, right? Interest rates spike up fast, 5%, boom. They lost massive amounts of money, had to liquidate to satisfy the demand of depositors, and boom, gone overnight. It was so fast, right?
Yeah.
There are hundreds of banks. Almost
Every
all of
bank.
them are
Every
in the
bank.
same circumstance. They've all bought these assets, these treasuries at such low rates. They're not going to be able to handle it. Now, there's a fear that the banks are going to fail, maybe a la Cyprus, right? They're going to have to do a bank bail-in. But I think a bigger likelihood is that the Fed's going to bail everybody out.
Oh, of course.
Everybody.
Of course
And
they're going to bail them out.
that means epic inflation.
Currency creation, inflation.
Right.
I agree. I think that is what people are afraid of.
I also think that there is probably going to be a massive consolidation of banks. And I think a lot of those smaller regional banks are going to get gobbled up.
Right.
And I think there's going to be a lot of consolidation to the point in which we're going to have a lot fewer banks. And could that be the fertile ground to take our central bank digital currency to the next level?
Right. I mean, that's the whole thing,
That's
right?
another fear.
Was
That's
this all
another fear.
manufactured? I don't know that they're necessarily smart enough or able to pull off this, but they take advantage of every situation they can, and they've been
Mhm.
working on the central bank digital currency, we know, for quite
Oh,
some
yeah.
time. And we got the Fed Now service getting rolled out literally
Mhm.
next week. They're signing people up for that. That'll be the infrastructure, and they can build the CBDC on top of that. So I think that's
Mhm.
probably around the corner as well, and people are certainly worried about that. But Yankee, I do want to bring it back to silver, right?
Okay,
Because we're
yeah.
silver pros, right?
That's right. Oh, yeah.
So, well, let me show the chart here because it's actually kind of crazy what's happened. So just over the last 3 weeks, and I showed this in my last video, but we can see silver spot price was right around $20 an ounce, and today it's over $24. $4 an ounce, but this is just spot price, right? Premiums have gone up as well, have they not?
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that. Spot is up, premiums are way up. It's a really tough time to be stacking. And well, maybe back in what, March 8th, uh, that would have been a good time to get a bunch of silver.
Oh, you mean when I was saying we should be stacking it hard? Is that what you're referring to?
I didn't think we'd get through this without you bringing that up.
Look, I mean, I just call them like I
Go
see
ahead,
it.
buddy.
I saw $20 silver, premiums are
Right.
low, and I said, look, we need to buy. I bought around 300 ounces that day. In fact, intraday, when I made my purchase, spot was just under $20 an ounce. And obviously, if I sold it all now, I could make a massive profit. But I don't plan on doing that. I want to hold on to it. That's the whole point of this stuff, right?
I didn't buy as much as you. All the silver you see here is part of the silver I bought since that point. I don't think I got it in as low as you did, but I've been buying silver, but not to the extent that I wanted to.
Right.
So silver has held up well. It is trading above its long-term support of $18 an ounce and its most recent support of $22.50, which makes me extremely confident that silver is going to continue to rally. But, and I got to bring in the yellow metal here, guy. I think it's going to rally even higher once gold shows its resolve to go over that $2,000 landmark and then stay there for a while.
Sure.
When that happens, I think silver is going to spike above $30, and that is going to be happening when the Fed begins cutting rates, I think, this year.
That's the whole thing, right? When is the Fed going to cut rates? Because we think, they may stop raising rates in May or June, but we don't exactly know. Obviously, the whole banking crisis has kind of moved everything forward from what we were initially predicting. But when they do start cutting rates, that's going to be the moment where we see silver just shine, and it's going to be unbelievable. I think we're so close to that point. But
on the flip side, can we talk about the flip side here? Right?
It's so possible it might not happen. I mean,
exactly.
For a while, it could get pushed out.
What if they say, "Oh, everything's fine. We got the banking situation all under control," and people start believing it? It's been a while since another bank struggles publicly. It's off the front page, right?
Yeah.
And then the next time they go, "We're gonna pause here. We think we're gonna go back to go back to raising rates because we're gonna fight inflation to the very bitter end," and people buy it, right? I think silver could break through that support of 22.50. I think if it does, I'm going to join you. I have a lot of fiat currency ready to buy more than just this. I'm going to buy a lot if it drops down to that point.
But that's the $1 million question, Yankee.
We'll see. Yeah, they're pretty good at talk.
Obviously,
they're not good at actions, but they're good at talk.
They can talk the talk. I hope that is what we see. I hope we do see a dip. I hope spot price comes down and premiums as well. But the bottom line is we just simply don't know what's going to happen. I mean, if we start to see more banks fail, if we start to see the country slide deeper into a recession, they have to stop raising rates, they start cutting rates. I mean, all of that is so bullish for precious metals. We could be sort of, still near the bottom, even now. So I don't think it's a terrible time to start buying. I think you need to get a position. You need to get a position if you don't have one. And if we do see a dip this summer, hopefully, oh my goodness, then you really need to back up the truck because that could be your last chance.
Yeah, I think if you're a new stacker and you haven't really created that base of silver, you have to be stacking even at these prices, even at these premiums. But, don't panic and don't go all in. Don't just buy it all at once, right? So again, keep that discipline of dollar cost averaging, buying in tranches, keep doing it over and over. And yeah, you still have a little bit of time, I think. I really do.
Well, hopefully.
I hope.
I
hope.
I would love to know what you all think. Definitely comment down below in the comment section. And we'll have to talk about this more in the future, don't you think, Yankee? Because this
Yeah,
is
let's definitely. We will be talking about this.
certainly, it's been a crazy few weeks, but it's not over yet. So I think we end the video portion there anyway. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Silver Pros.
Stack like a pro.